Welcome back to another Create-O-Holics episode. In the last one, we made our very own automatic enchanting system here where we put all of our items in this chest that we care about, and this will auto-enchant everything for us. And in this episode, we are, number one, building a little base around it, but probably more importantly, as you can see, most of these are not even being powered. And this is because I, in the last episode, couldn't really make hyper experience. And you might be asking, what does that even mean? So let me explain. In the last episode, we didn't have a recipe for ink sacs, which lets us make glow ink sacs, which then we can use to make liquid hyper experience. Now though, we have a recipe where we combine black dye, string, and slime balls into ink sacs. This is a way more fun recipe. I don't know if you've seen my single player series, but in that one we had to wash coal into ink sacs, which we can then haunt into glowing sacs, and I think this recipe makes a little bit more sense. It's also a little bit more complicated, which is always fun. The difficulty with that though is that it requires, obviously, 3 things which aren't the easiest things to gather. Slime balls being the hardest, but string and black dye both require either flax to be crushed or coal to be crushed. Thankfully, we have an automatic harvesting system over under there where you can see the carrots. We have an automatic harvesting system here where we are actively harvesting flax and wheat. And as for coal, I mean, oh, we can make this if we wanted to. But I've already committed. We're doing coal. We're doing that because if we look at our coal, yeah, we have 58,000 coal in our storage because we have these miners under here that work wonders. So we're good on those 2 fronts. The only other one we really care about is slime balls, which is lime dye and wheat dough or normal dough. They're both relatively easy. It's just some wheat and water basically. It's just a lot to cram into a little space for the build that we're making today, which you probably saw in the thumbnail. But it should be looking really, really cool. And of course, like every single build or system that you've ever made, if you don't build the building before putting it into your world, you're probably gonna have to change some stuff, and you wouldn't believe it. All of this is getting torn down. And because of that, I'm going to start with the build in this episode, and then we'll get to setting up the liquid hyper experience for literally all of these guys. And by the end of the video, we are going to have the ultimate set of armor you can get in the Create mod, as well as the ultimate set of tools, bow, sword, everything is going to be enchanted in this episode, and it is going to be so cool. And to start off every build session, we do need a couple of materials. We have 30 pages, half of which are already done just because we have it in our storage system, but we have quite a bit to go through. But before we do that, I have to meet up with some of the people on the server because there's apparently some big news. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry, this guy's like my best friend.
We are BFFs. Please get off my property.
We can't hear you talking.
I made the funniest joke. You'll have to check out my POV to see it. I got him.
Wait, was it when I said that you were my best friend?
Yeah.
Savagely roasted.
Or I was being nice for a change.
Right, I'm gonna lean towards savagely roasted.
Hello, who are you?
This is Bigfoot.
So is this?
Oh, hi, Bigfoot. Pleasure. You're really normal.
Okay, so those two are aligned. I see. Is this another one of your friends that were in the spaceship?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
we're kind of friends.
Kindle?
Mostly enemies.
Kindle, Faimir, Kindle.
Nice to meet you.
Kindle, Faimir
Do I call him like Bubble Dump?
is like
Sure.
too much.
That
Yes.
works.
Or dump truck.
We call him Dump. Yeah.
Madden's running away.
We killed Madden.
So were you on the ship?
I don't know. I came from a crashed ship, which they say is theirs. I haven't been back to it though, so I don't know if there's like another one or if it is theirs.
Oh yeah, we did crash on a ship on episode 1.
Because I just left out of the ship and then
Episode 1.
suddenly these guys came a bunch further away.
We suspect that
Also-
Faimir
That's
came
what
from
he
the
said.
stasis
That's what he
chambers on the
said.
ship.
Yeah.
Oh, some of the
So
stasis.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, I came from the ship like a month ago,
Oh.
and then eventually these people just showed up. So are you part of their group?
Loosely. You're currently standing in Escargaria, which is
Escargaria.
the land of the snails. May they
I'll put it
rest
like
in
this:
peace.
we are planets made.
Yes.
Jeez, what?
Yeah, Kindle here is a religious man, and Madden and I are staunchly atheistic
Yeah, we're more scientific.
about the silly snails.
I'm
They're
just
very
Here,
serious.
This is. I can respect the architecture of your beautiful building.
Thank you.
though. Your
It was
beautiful
brought to me
detail.
in
Can
a
we-
vision.
Can we go inside?
Yeah,
Vision.
absolutely. We have a little tour.
Why do I
This
feel?
is
Why do I
really
feel like a
loud
mild burning.
Yeah, you
in
might
here.
want to turn down your block
Oh
sounds,
my.
but also it's because you're the devil. These are the followers of Snaily, the god of profit.
Did you consume something before you built this place?
Yeah, a lot of eggs. You needed the protein to be able to place this many blocks, and also some.
How is the acoustic in this place?
Yeah.
So is the fire in the background of this entire church intended aesthetic?
You know, I think it tells a story, but also it took me about 4 episodes to realize you could put a blaze spawner underwater and then it won't spawn blazes.
And I wonder who helped you with that.
That's
I wonder who.
That's why that's like that.
I was attacked so many times.
Okay, I guess.
Bubby.
See you later. See you later, big dump.
Bye.
See
Dump truck!
the dump truck. See you later.
Later,
Bye.
Mr. Dump.
Thanks. Well, I suppose I have a new nickname now, and with a new member of the server joining, great. And I am so glad about Fimir joining the server. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos, but they are incredibly well made. He only has a few, but holy cow is the quality really, really good. And I'm glad that he's on the Create-O-Holics server, but now it's time to get on with material gathering. We have a ton to get through, and let's do this in a little bit of a time lapse. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I think we should maybe stop doing time lapse videos for create mod specific material gathering sessions, because 90% of it is me standing there or a machine running and me waiting for the machine to run and crafting stuff in my inventory, which you can't even see. But yeah, that's basically it. Let's get back to the world. There we go. Everything is gathered. You can see the first page or so is create stuff, and that is because I just haven't torn down the previous thing. It's still like, oh, you need 18, what are these, enchanting guides, you need 27 million deployers, and I'm like, no I don't, I just need to remove all these because I want to move this whole build 2 blocks forward. And that's the only reason. I found a way to make it a little bit skinnier, which is something that I really wanted, because I don't want this build to be bigger than either of these two. And if we had it really wide, we would also need to make it really tall for it to not look stupid, and then it would be this big. And believe it or not, I don't want every build to be the biggest build that I've ever made. We need to make some variety, we need to make some smaller. So shrinking it by 2 blocks and like cutting off this whole section here that we're not even going to use is going to be huge. To start, we have to tear down this whole thing, and I want to start with I don't have my jetpack because I was charging it. First, let's start with this fluid tank because, oh my goodness, I don't know how to jump. It has 500,000 millibuckets of XP. I have almost 0 levels. I want to see how many levels I get up to with a full 3x3 by however tall this is tank of XP. So let's just start removing it. Where's it going? I need to break them like that. I have 76 levels. 186 levels from 1 tank. That is completely insane. Now that that is out of the way, it's time to just start tearing this thing down, and this one is actually gonna look good in a time lapse, so let's start up a time lapse. As I mentioned, we are tearing this thing down first, but honestly, it wasn't too bad. The only real issue was breaking all the glass since we don't have silk touch on anything, so I needed to make a little bit more of that. But then otherwise, we tore everything out, easy peasy, lickety split, and then we got into putting in the build. I threw in a little bit of shrubbery around at the bottom, as you can see, and then a little bit of a platform on the right hand side is like a balcony thing, which is going to turn out super cool once we get to it. And then we're putting in the main bit of the base. The middle, as you already know, is the main farm aspect, which we built in the last episode, but the outside is really what I'm going for. I threw in a bunch of windows, a couple of new window designs, which I really like the look of, and then over at the roof we have kind of a standard triangle roof and then a little observatory thing in the top, but that's the rest of the build. Let's get back to the world. And here we are with the fully completed build. Oh, that's silverfish. I was like, what in the world's going on with the noises? No, this build is done, and holy cow, does it look good. This thing took me quite a while to develop and build in the creative world before building it here, just because of how weird of a shape it needed to be. As you can see, we have like a normal build here, a little out shooting bit, and then this thing. And I'm gonna be honest, I built this little observatory dome thing before I built the stuff inside of it, but it was actually necessary to fit all the things that I needed for this farm into the build. And I think it looks really cool, and it's just so weird and different that it fits which is kind of interesting. It's very similar to the silos in terms of design, but it's just weird and different, which I kind of like. I'm really a big fan of this side of the build. I have used these types of windows a ton. Oh my goodness, you're going down to 1. These types of windows have been my savior. I have used them all over the place. As you can see, these wax exposed copper grates, and sometimes with the scaffolding. You've probably seen these in Grian's or Scar's or whoever else's video on Hermitcraft, but using the iron bars and stuff as little like window blocky windies, I don't know what they're called, is kind of a good idea. I just saw it on Instagram while I was looking up inspiration, but this thing is good. I've already set it up again so that it's working like it was before. We do need a little bit of time to rack up on more XP, but for now we need to get our liquid hyper experience in and set up. Before we do that though, we have a bunch of these inventory hoppers scattered around here, and I've labeled a couple of them because I would have forgotten that we need to hook up to our main storage system over there. Oh wait, why are you over here? That is bad. It's not actually horrible. This is happening because they're not getting killed quick enough because I lost my good sword with sweeping edge on it. Yeah, as you can see, they are kind of getting toast. I think that's fine. We'll live with it, and if it becomes a big problem, we'll just cry. So to connect up all these to power, I'm going to show you with this one. This one we are going to use for lapis, if I can get rid of that guy. We are going to be using this for lapis, so let's just bring this down into our underground little tunnel system that we have been making for power and lava and all that fun stuff, and I will just basically show you what we have to do in order to connect this up, and then I'll connect it up with the other 6 or so. So I'm just digging over to this inventory cable, which we already have connected up. I'm going to dig a little pathway here so we can get through, and if we build this along, I'm just going to continue going this way until we get back to our main area. And now that we've hooked that up, the literal only last thing we need to do is set a filter for this so that it knows what to pull out and what to put onto this depot here. Since this is lapis, all we need to do is grab some lapis, put it in that filter. You can see filter lapis lazuli, and there we go. We have lapis coming in. Now I just need to repeat this for the 5 or so others that we have here. Somehow my back tank is low again. Why are you here? And there we go. Those should now be all connected up. And now if we run over here, all we have to do is setting up the configuration for powering all these things, which shouldn't be too difficult. So this, I'm fairly confident, is not an outside block, and it is not. So we can get a little cogwheel in there from this, and then we're basically good to go. Connecting it up now, we should see that a bunch of stuff is getting done, but I need a bunch of lava buckets because we have a bunch of cauldrons here that are going to be throwing out all the stuff that we don't need, like flax seeds. I forgot to set a filter for this. That's not good. Okay, there we go. Filter is set. I don't know why it wasn't set before, but now all we have to do is put a bunch of lava into all of these, and then we'll get stuff happening. We have string down here. Perfect. I'm looking for, this actually isn't connected to anything anymore. I'm looking for black dye in here, which we have, and have an excess of even. And then I want lime dye in, or slime balls even, in here. The fan is backwards. That should be easy to fix, and I do need a water bucket here so that we can wash stuff. There we go. Now it's pushing. We are going to be washing all of these wheat flours. I'm using an andesite funnel. That shouldn't slow it down too much, even though these only drop things out one at a time. I think it'll be fine. We do have slime balls at the bottom. All we have to do now is power this belt here, and we will be good to go. And connecting this up will, get it in. Ruh-roh. Okay, hold on 1 second. We got flax seeds in here, which is bad news. That just means that this brass funnel probably can't keep up, unless actually I'm crazy. So I'm gonna give it a second, because it doesn't look like we're getting any more flax seeds here, which is good. Yeah, so we should be good. I forgot to power that mixer, which is easy to do from right here. Just need a little cogwheel down to here, and then another cogwheel, and then there we go. We are making ink sacs. Now, we need ink sacs to be haunted into glow ink sacs and then end up on this belt. I have not thought this far ahead, as you can maybe tell, given the fact that there's no way for us to do that currently, but it should be doable. So if we dig out under here, this is the belt for the ink sacs, and this is where we need glow ink sacs. So we could do a bunch of fancy stuff. I suspect, though, that if we just do this, and if this is spinning the correct direction, it's pushing and not pulling, then we can have this drop off straight onto a depot. The depot will get filtered by a funnel, drop itself onto a belt, and then we'll be good to go. If I can connect a belt up like that, and I totally can, yeah, I think we'll be good like that then. There we go, glow ink sacs have been achieved. The thing I'm curious about is why this basin isn't making more things. We might need to do it stack by stack because it might be getting confused, but I'll give it a second longer to figure itself out. And once we connect this bottom part up, we should see, yep, that starts to go. And hopefully if I can escape, we're gonna see over here that this continues to make ink sacs, which I think it will. I think it's just gonna make it one at a time though, because this is a little bit broken, but I think I can fix that by just getting another brass funnels, setting it to ink sacs, and calling it a day on that, because now that'll drop out a stack or more of ink sacs instead of one at a time and then stopping, which does smelt it faster. And now we can see that going in here is our lapis, glowstone, liquid XP, and all we need to do now is get our deployer with a fully built up blaze cake in here. To do this though, we need to get a bunch of chickens, which thankfully we have a ton of, but this is where they're going to be sitting, and currently it only has two sides. So let's get some glass in here, and I am going to just build up a little chute for these guys, and now we just need some eggs, and we have 1,200, which should be plenty. There we go, chickens are in, and now we just need the two other things for a blaze cake, which is sugar and cinder flour. Sugar we can actually get from crafting honey into sugar. The only downside is that we can't crush it like we could sugarcane. We need to automate craft it, which is a little bit difficult. We might do that right now, but we'll see. And then the other one is cinder flour, which we literally have 13,000 of. So that is just another hopper, and then we're good on that front. So we have set up here our cinder flour going into this basin. And now I am going to try to automate honey into sugar. I'm not going to do it over there though, because I will maybe want to use this sugar for other things, and I think it's worth more putting over near the honey stuff than it is things over there. If I have liquid honey, is there anything I can do with it? The answer is no. Okay, I have this little test system here just so I can make sure that everything is working as I expect, because what we're doing here, we have honey box and glass bottles in here. This can be shapeless crafted into 4 glass bottles. Those will then be dropped out into here that should be turned into sugar. My concern is that we won't get the glass bottles back when auto crafting it, and if that's the case, I'm gonna give up immediately, because there's no point in doing that, since if I craft it manually, I get the glass bottles back. So let's just connect this thing up. Let's see what happens. We should see this isn't connected to power. Oops. Yep. Okay, yeah, so our, okay, so it does work. Okay, so what happens is it does the thing it crafts first and then the bottle afterwards, which is easy to do. Okay, and now that system is done, and we basically have an infinite loop of sugar. If we want to check, we're already at 152. Easy peasy, easy life. How do I get out of here? This way. So now all we need to do is connect it up with another basic hopper, and then we are good to go, and we will have literally everything that we need for unlimited blaze cakes, which accidental unlimited blaze cake farm, my bad, didn't mean to do it. But more importantly, unlimited hyper experience. And who are you? Why do you have slowness? Whatever, see you, loser. So now if we put sugar in here, we should see that these hoppers put in sugar into the basin, and then we could just throw in some eggs to kickstart this thing. I just fully missed. That was embarrassing. There we go. Eggs. We get blaze cakes. Why is there sugar cubes? Oh, okay, well that's why there's sugar cubes, but let's set that filter, and now we blaze cake it. Let's go. And we get our sugar back, easy peasy. We have literally so many blaze cakes. So we should see that we are getting, oh, they're blue. Me when I'm watching the Blue Man group, I guess that's kind of a stupid way to say it. Why are these guys switching back and forth? What's your deal? You're both empty but have 5 millibuckets. Okay, that's probably just a glitchy thing because we don't have enough right now. But what we're seeing is we have a mixer with hyper experience on it, and now we have infinite hyper experience. As long as we have enough items to do it, which it actually looks like we do, it'll just take a little bit for all of these guys to fill up. I'm curious, it looks like the protection and feather falling. Ooh, all of the top guys seem to be getting a little bit more than normal, and he's already already at 283 millibuckets. In maybe an hour of AFKing, all of these are going to be lit up, and honestly, we should time-lapse this because I would love to see it. So let's time-lapse this bad boy up and get all the cool colors going. Hopefully we have enough XP. We might want to turn this back on. Bad news. No time-lapse. The good news though, we have this working now. It just took another day. A day longer than I expected, solely because I was trying to pump hyper experience through here, but since this valve was closed, it was getting confused and potentially breaking everything. I say potentially because our fluid tank back here was full. It's now at 77,000 millibuckets, but it was completely full. And these things were still empty, like you saw at the very beginning of setting this up. And I was so confused. And it turns out that pumping it into a valve confuses it for everything else. So I just disconnected that and it started working flawlessly. So we're good here. But I mean, that one pump taking an extra day makes no sense. Oh, you're right. That was step one. Step two, we ran out of cactus. Oh, I need saws. But I thought we were gonna run out of cactus, so I set up a big cactus farm here that isn't even gonna be filled with anything. I was worried we were gonna run out of cactus. We actually didn't. You can also see that we now have a lot of flax and a lot of wheat, and that is because we did run out of both of those two things. Believe it or not, wheat and flax actually are really expensive into making the ink sacs, since we need both string and our dough for the slime balls. And both of those are pretty much a 1-to-1 comparison. And if we need, let's say, 96,000 buckets of liquid hyper experience, we need a ton of wheat and flax. And I honestly haven't looked at this since last night. It was midnight. I woke up at 6 a.m. This is about what I would expect from me, but it's a pretty goated farm. It's a little micro farm that's auto harvesting, auto placing. It actually, I don't even need this anymore. Yeah, you can see how sleepy I was. We get auto bone meal in here. It gets auto harvested, and then a backpack automatically picks it up with a magnet upgrade and then throws out any of the garbage, dropping out the rest of the stuff, putting it into our storage system, and it's backed up. That's fine. And the same thing is happening over here with the flax. I can also remove this thing from the flax as well. That's sweet. So yeah, both of these were going overnight. I ran out of 120,000 bone meal, so we've started back up the bone meal farm. We're back at 4,000, but holy cow, these things burn through bone meal, but it is really fast and it is really useful, and it made it so that our hyper XP farm backs up literally the whole way with glowing sacks. So I can't complain too much. This is working fabulously. It's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. That's why it's in the basement. Welcome to the Create mod. Okay, now comes the actually only important part of the video. We need to enchant our stuff. And probably more importantly, I need netherite tools, because what am I doing? Another thing to mention, someone posted it in the comments of the last video, but since I have infinity here and mending here, if I'm putting a bow through, it's gonna always have mending every single time, because of course it is. And I could fix it with the same thing over here, but honestly, I'm never gonna use a bow. Okay, fine, maybe I fix it. There we go, I fixed it. You're welcome. It works flawlessly without any flaws whatsoever, except that you sometimes get a little bit of XP. That's fine. So everything is now working. Let's enchant all of our gear and actually probably make new gear, because honestly, I don't think we have any real stuff. Back tank pressure low, you can eat my butt. So for tools, we really don't have a ton of good stuff. We do have some pretty good hose, but that's about it. But everything else here can honestly be disenchanted. And the good thing about mending is that I can literally just refill all of the durability on these for as long as I want. So let's just disenchant everything. I don't know where my grindstone is. I also need some more diamonds from this. So let's just... This is actually ridiculous. How many stacks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 stacks of diamonds just for some netherite upgrades? I am rich. All right, we have everything that I would ever want to enchant. Let's head over there. Wait, I didn't even consider this. The swimming set with Depth Strider 4 is going to be the fastest I've ever moved in my life. I don't even think the game is going to be able to keep up. Okay, where am I going to put these little grindstone and smithing table? The great spot, stellar spot. We're taking off all the enchants on all of these because I don't need them. There we go. Everything is off. Now let's level up all of these as much as we can, at least, with our netherite ingots, netherite axe, netherite sword, netherite pickaxe, netherite hoe, netherite shovel, netherite paxel. Oh, can you not paxel? Oh, you can't just upgrade Okay, let's get rid of the diamond one. Let's get me some more tools. Okay, so this is axe number 1 for the Paxel, shovel number 1 for the Paxel, pickaxe number 1 for the Paxel. And then let's just do a final pickaxe for fortune. Because we can. And then we can make our netherite Paxel with our brand new shovel. There we go. That's so expensive. And then let's do one more diamond sword into a netherite sword for our XP farm, since, you know, we might as well. And now is time to enchant literally everything we own. First, we're going to turn off mending for the bow, and then we're just going to send that boy through. Now it is time to enchant everything that we own, starting with the bow, because obviously we can't have mending on that. That would be ridiculous. We need infinity. But what should happen is this should go up into here, onto this middle belt, and then we should see it go across. As soon as it passes mending, we can turn this off, put literally everything else in here, and there we go. We are enchanting half of an inventory's worth of items, and it looks like everything is working. That's getting Thorns 4 on it. Punch 3 is going to be crazy on a bow. I didn't even really consider it. Capacity 4, and then Protection 5 on that as well is going to be insane. We're getting mending on everything. This is so exciting. Now it's just time to sit here and wait for everything to go through. Something I didn't consider, which maybe I should have. These swim pants and hat don't count as anything, really. So let's just take off this filter, because what are they gonna do? And those all look to be completed. Let's check out. Everything is set up. Mending, Thorns, Swift Sneak, Protection, Unbreaking. Oh my gosh. Respiration 4. Let's look at these boots. Where are they? Soulbound Mending, Depth Strider 4, Thorns, Soul Speed 4, Feather Falling 5, Protection 5, Unbreaking 4 is insane. Oh my goodness. We literally have everything that we could ever want in a tool set. This is literally perfect. And with all these things, we do need to level and power them back up. I'm currently doing that with the jetpack right now, but we should be able to just stand next to an XP source and get this crazy quickly. So once this is filled up, yep, let's head back over and I suppose just tap this. You know, we could do something a little bit silly and just break this and call it a day, which I think is what I'm gonna do. I am curious, in here we do have cosmetics. If it works, I would love to be able to use XP on these while we're doing stuff. Like, that would be ideal, because then we can put on our swim stuff up in the front here and be okay. But let's just break this and see what happens. So everything is powering back up. It doesn't look like this is working, but that's okay. Yeah, so it needs to be on the main set of armor. That's fine, but this is actually taking a while. I didn't think it was going to take this much time, but I suppose it is. So now we just get to watch as this gets bumped up. What we could technically do is use Liquid Hyper Experience, which I actually want to try. I want to see how much faster it is. I think it's faster than what we can carry. It absolutely is. That is way faster. That is crazy. We have everything leveled up, brand new set of gear basically, and it is all working. First order of business, let's remove this rinky-dink. Where is it? I gotta get to you. Let me get to you. Remove this rinky-dink sword and replace it with our famous netherite one. Netherite sword with mending, sweeping edge 4, looting 4, sharpness 6, and unbreaking 4. In there now, we have our backup one here. Oh my goodness. This was what we were using before, just a super basic one. But now we have a fancy one. Let's put all of our tools back in here. We can put that back. And honestly, I could get rid of all my levels down here, but I think it would take about half an hour. So I'm just not gonna, because we don't need to. I mean, this thing can turn on and off at will, basically. We now have every single one of our things. I want to quickly go swimming to see how fast or how slow this is. I say, let's try to get to the mangrove swamp that is, I think, about 500 blocks away. Like right here, x 500, x negative 500. It's 1,000 blocks away. Let's see how long it takes for us to get there. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Wait, this is insane. I can't even see what is ahead of me. I'm glitching out. Okay, we're here. I don't know how fast that was, but it was rapid. We are going so fast. This is easily a better way to time it because I've already loaded in the chunks. So I can kind of see what's going on. But oh my goodness. This is insanely fast. There we go. We're back. There and back. Easily under a minute. 1,000 blocks. In under a minute. No problem at all. This is sick. I look dope. Don't even come at me. But that's gonna, unfortunately, have to do it for this episode. We have already taken quite a while on this video, on this project, but we now have everything physically possible with enchanting working, except for maybe trident enchantments, but I don't care. We now have literally everything that we could ever want on all of our gear, and maybe relatively soon we start selling this for profit, because that would be sweet. But that'll have to come in a future episode, so thank you all so much for watching. If you like this episode, be sure to like, and if you're new, consider subscribing if you're not already, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace!